In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, the Galactic Empire stood tall and proud. For millennia, they had ruled over countless star systems, their power unchallenged and their authority absolute. The Empire's capital world, Centralia, was a planet-wide metropolis of gleaming towers and bustling spaceports. It was here, in the Imperial Palace, that the fate of a small blue planet would be decided. High Admiral Zorak strode into the grand meeting hall, his metallic scales glinting in the light of 3 artificial suns. Around a massive holographic table sat the 12 members of the Imperial Council, each representing a major sector of the Empire. Zorak's mandibles clicked with excitement as he prepared to present his latest discovery. "Esteemed council members," Zorak began, his voice a low rumble, "our deep space probes have detected a new planet in the outer reaches of the Orion Arm. Initial scans show signs of civilization, but their technology appears to be primitive." The holographic display flickered to life, showing a blue and green planet spinning slowly. Council members leaned forward, their multiple eyes blinking with interest. "They call their world Earth," Zorak continued, "and themselves humans. They have only recently achieved spaceflight, and their weapons are laughably basic. I propose we bring them into the Empire immediately." Councillor Vex, a being of pure energy contained within a hovering sphere, pulsed with skepticism. "Is this world of any value to us, Admiral? Why waste resources on such an insignificant species?" Zorak's tail twitched with annoyance. "Every world has value, Counselor. Their planet is rich in resources, and the humans themselves could prove useful as labor in our mines and factories. Plus, their strategic location could serve as an excellent outpost for further expansion." The Emperor himself, a massive creature with 6 arms and a brain visible through a transparent dome, spoke up. His voice resonated through the chamber, a sound like rolling thunder. "You seem quite confident, Admiral Zorak. Tell me, what resistance do you expect from these humans?" A laugh rippled through the council, a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and rumbles. The very idea that a primitive race could resist the might of the Galactic Empire seemed absurd. Zorak straightened, his chest swelling with pride. "Your Imperial Majesty, I expect no resistance at all. Our scans show their most advanced weapons are simple projectile-based firearms and crude nuclear devices. They have no energy shields, no faster-than-light travel, and no significant presence beyond their own planet. It will be like taking candy from a larva." The Emperor's giant eyes blinked slowly. "Very well, Admiral. You have my permission to proceed. Send a diplomatic envoy first. Offer them the chance to join our glorious empire peacefully. If they refuse," his voice trailed off ominously. "They won't refuse, Your Majesty," Zorak said confidently. "Once they see the power of our ships, the advanced technology we possess, they will have no choice but to recognize our superiority. And if they foolishly choose to resist, well, it has been a while since our troops have had any real combat experience. It might be good for morale." As the council meeting adjourned, none of the alien leaders gave a second thought to the fate of Earth. To them, it was just another world to be added to their vast empire, its people just another species to be subjugated. Little did they know that on that small blue planet, humans were far from the primitive beings the Empire believed them to be. In secret bunkers deep beneath the surface, in hidden orbital stations, and in classified research facilities, humanity had been preparing for this moment for generations. As the first Imperial ships began their long journey towards Earth, a message raced ahead of them. Transmitted through subspace channels the Empire didn't even know existed. It reached Earth in a matter of seconds, decoded by quantum computers far more advanced than anything the Empire possessed. The message was simple: they're coming. Operation Trojan Horse is a go. In response, cities around the world began to change. Skyscrapers retracted into the ground. Advanced technology was hidden away, and humanity put on a convincing mask of a species just beginning to reach for the stars. The trap was set. The Galactic Empire, in all its arrogance, was about to learn a harsh lesson about underestimating their opponents. Humanity was ready. They had been ready for a very long time. The massive Imperial ship, the Starfire, emerged from hyperspace near Earth's moon. Its sleek, silver hull gleamed in the sunlight, dwarfing the primitive satellites that orbited the blue planet. On the bridge, Ambassador Xylox adjusted his translucent robe, his tentacles twitching with anticipation. "Prepare the landing craft," Xylox ordered, his voice a melodious hum. "It's time to enlighten these humans about their new place in the galaxy." As the Imperial shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere, the humans watched from hidden bunkers and cloaked orbital stations. General Sarah Chen, commander of Earth's unified defense forces, stood in the control room of a secret base beneath the Rocky Mountains. "They're heading for the designated landing zone," she announced to her staff. "Operation Trojan Horse is in full swing. Remember, we played dumb and primitive. Let's see how arrogant these aliens really are." The Imperial shuttle touched down in a large field outside New York City. A crowd of civilians, actually highly trained actors and soldiers, gathered at a safe distance, pointing and gasping at the alien craft. News cameras rolled, broadcasting the historic event worldwide. Ambassador Xylox emerged from the shuttle, flanked by towering guards in gleaming armor. He raised his tentacles in what he believed was a universal gesture of peace. "People of Earth," Xylox's voice boomed through a translator, "I come as a representative of the Galactic Empire. We offer you the tremendous honor of joining our vast civilization. Embrace this opportunity, and the galaxy will be open to you." From the crowd, a man in a suit stepped forward. This was Dr. James Wong, Earth's chosen representative, and secretly one of the planet's top xenobiologists and military strategists. "Welcome to Earth," Dr. Wong said, his voice calm but firm. "We are surprised by your arrival. May I ask why you believe we would want to join your empire?" Xylox's eye stalks blinked in confusion. This wasn't the awed reverence he had expected. Nevertheless, he continued his rehearsed speech. "The Galactic Empire spans millions of worlds. We offer you technology beyond your wildest dreams, protection from hostile species, and a place in the greatest civilization the universe has ever known." Dr. Wong nodded politely. "That's a generous offer. However, we are quite content as we are. We respectfully decline and ask that you leave our world in peace." A murmur ran through the crowd. In hidden bunkers around the world, military leaders watched the exchange with tense anticipation. Xylox's skin flushed a deep purple, a sign of anger in his species. "You misunderstand, human. This is not an offer you can refuse. The Empire has claimed this world. You will submit or face the consequences." Dr. Wong's expression hardened. "Ambassador, let me be clear. We do not want to join your empire. We do not want your technology or your protection. What we want is for you to leave. Now." Xylox laughed, a sound like tinkling glass. "And if we refuse, what will you do, human? Fight us with your primitive weapons?" "No," Dr. Wong said quietly. "We will destroy you." The ambassador's laughter cut off abruptly. "You dare threaten the Galactic Empire? You are nothing but insects to us. We have conquered worlds far more advanced than yours." Dr. Wong took a step closer, his voice low and intense. "Then let me give you a warning, Ambassador. You have no idea what humanity is capable of. We've been preparing for this day for generations. Every piece of primitive technology you see is a lie. Every satellite you detected is a decoy. You think you know what Earth is. You've seen only what we wanted you to see." He pointed to the sky. "Leave now. Tell your empire to stay away from Earth, because if you don't, you'll be starting a war you cannot win. And we won't stop at defending our planet. We'll bring the fight to every corner of your so-called empire." Xylox's tentacles writhed in fury. "You'll regret this insolence, human. The Empire will crush your pitiful world." As the ambassador stormed back to his shuttle, Dr. Wong spoke into a hidden communicator. They took the bait. Prepare for Phase 2. In orbit, cloaked human ships watched as the Imperial shuttle returned to the Starfire. As the massive ship turned to leave, it broadcast a final message. You have made your choice, Earth. Prepare for war. Little did they know, Earth had been prepared for war for a very long time. As the Imperial ship vanished into hyperspace, hidden facilities around the planet hummed to life. Humanity's true technology was about to be revealed, and the Galactic Empire was in for a shock. The Imperial war fleet dropped out of hyperspace near Earth's orbit, a swarm of massive battleships that blotted out the stars. On the bridge of the flagship, Eternal Flame, Admiral Zorek's scales bristled with anticipation. Look at their pitiful defenses, Zorek sneered, pointing at the few visible satellites and space stations orbiting Earth. This will be over before our first meal cycle. The Admiral turned to his communications officer. Send the humans our demands. They have 1 Earth hour to surrender, or we open fire. Down on the planet, in the secret command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Sarah Chen received the Empire's message. She allowed herself a small smile before composing her face into a mask of grim determination. Send our response, she ordered. Tell them. Come and take it. As the deadline approached, tension mounted on both sides. The Empire's gunners manned their stations, fingers hovering over firing controls. On Earth, hidden defense systems powered up, their existence still unknown to the invaders. The hour passed. Admiral Zorek's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. So be it. All ships, commence bombardment. Target their major cities and military installations. A hail of energy beams and plasma torpedoes rained down from the Imperial fleet. They streaked through Earth's atmosphere, heading for their targets with deadly precision. But seconds before impact, the impossible happened. The weapons simply vanished. On the bridge of the Eternal Flame, alarms blared. Admiral, a sensor officer called out, his voice high with panic. Our weapons, they're gone. They disappeared just before hitting the planet's surface. Zorek's eyes widened in disbelief. Impossible. Reload and fire again. The second barrage met the same fate. This time, the entire fleet watched in shock as their weapons winked out of existence, mere kilometers above Earth's surface. In the command center, General Chen allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. Looks like the phase shift shields are working perfectly, she said to her staff. Now let's show them what we can really do. High above the planet, concealed by advanced cloaking technology, Earth's true defense fleet decloaked. Sleek, dart-like ships appeared as if from nowhere, their hulls gleaming with a metal unknown to the Empire. Admiral Zorek stared at his tactical display in horror as hundreds of enemy ships suddenly materialized. Impossible, he whispered. Where did they come from? Before he could issue new orders, the Earth fleet opened fire. But instead of conventional weapons, beams of shimmering energy lanced out, enveloping the Imperial ships one by one. On the Eternal Flame, chaos erupted. Admiral, the sensor officer screamed. Our systems are shutting down. Weapons, shields, engines, everything. Across the Imperial fleet, ship after ship went dark, drifting helplessly in space. In less than 5 minutes, the entire invasion force had been neutralized without a single casualty on either side. General Chen's voice crackled through the communication systems of every Imperial ship. Attention, Galactic Empire forces. Your weapons have been neutralized, your ships disabled. You are now at our mercy. In the stunned silence that followed, she continued, we warned you not to underestimate humanity. We've been preparing for this day for generations, developing technologies you couldn't even imagine. The primitive world you thought you were invading was nothing but a carefully crafted illusion. On the bridge of the Eternal Flame, Admiral Zorek slumped in his command chair, his scales pale with shock. What are you? He whispered. General Chen's voice was cold. We are humanity. We offered you the chance to leave in peace, and you chose war. Now you'll face the consequences of that choice. As if to emphasize her words, a massive portal opened in space near the moon. Through it, the astonished Imperial forces could see another Earth fleet, even larger than the first, returning from what seemed to be another dimension. "This is only a fraction of our true strength," General Chen declared. "We've been exploring the multiverse while you were playing at Galactic Empire. Now, you have a choice. Surrender and face justice for your unprovoked attack, or be destroyed. You have 1 hour to decide." As the ultimatum hung in the air, the once mighty Imperial fleet drifted powerless in Earth's orbit, their dreams of easy conquest shattered. The Galactic Empire had started this war, but it was becoming clear that humanity would be the ones to finish it. As the disabled Imperial fleet drifted in Earth's orbit, the true extent of humanity's technological prowess began to unfold. On board the captured flagship, Eternal Flame, Admiral Zorak and his officers watched in stunned silence as General Chen led a group of human scientists through the ship's corridors. "How?" Zorak finally managed to ask, his voice a hoarse whisper. "How did you develop such advanced technology without our knowledge?" General Chen smiled, a hint of pride in her eyes. "It's simple, Admiral. We've had help from ourselves." At her signal, one of the scientists activated a handheld device. The air shimmered, and suddenly, a man appeared beside them. But this was no ordinary man. His body seemed to shift and change, sometimes solid, sometimes translucent. "Meet Dr. Quantum," Chen said. He's me. Or rather, a version of me from an alternate universe." Dr. Quantum nodded at the bewildered aliens. "You see, Admiral, humanity discovered multiverse travel centuries ago. We've been sharing knowledge and technology across countless parallel Earths. The primitive world you thought you were invading, that was just one possibility among millions." As they walked through the ship, the humans casually demonstrated their technological superiority. A young technician waved her hand, and the ship's control panels reconfigured themselves, now displaying in English. Another scientist pulled out a small cube, which expanded into a holographic workstation more advanced than anything in the Imperial arsenal. "But the cosmic laws," one of the Imperial scientists sputtered. "The energy requirements for such technology are easily met when you can tap into the fundamental forces of the multiverse," Dr. Quantum finished for him. "Your understanding of physics is quaint by our standards." They reached the engine room, where a team of human engineers was already at work, effortlessly interfacing with the alien technology. General Chen turned to Admiral Zorak, her expression serious. "Now let me show you why your weapons failed," she said. With a gesture, she activated a holographic display. It showed Earth, surrounded by layers of shimmering energy fields. "Phase shift shields," Chen explained. "They don't just block attacks, they shift the incoming energy into parallel dimensions. Your weapons literally cease to exist in our universe the moment they hit the shields." Zorak's scales paled further. "But the power required is nothing compared to what we can generate," Dr. Quantum interjected. He held up a small glowing crystal. "This contains the energy of a supernova harvested from a dying universe. We call it a cosmic battery. Each of our ships carries hundreds." As if to demonstrate, the crystal pulsed, and suddenly, the disabled Imperial ship hummed back to life, but now under human control. "And that's just the beginning," General Chen continued. She nodded to another scientist, who tapped a command into her wrist computer. Outside the viewports, the space around Earth seemed to ripple. Massive structures began to appear, fading into view as if emerging from invisible fog. "Orbital defense platforms," Chen explained, cloaked and phase-shifted, each one capable of neutralizing an entire fleet. "We have thousands." Admiral Zorak slumped against a wall, overwhelmed. "Why?" he asked weakly. "Why maintain the illusion of a primitive world if you had all this power?" General Chen's expression softened slightly. Because, Admiral, we hoped it wouldn't come to this. We've seen the rise and fall of countless empires across the multiverse. We know how this story usually ends. We hoped that by appearing non-threatening, we could avoid conflict altogether. Dr. Quantum nodded solemnly. In many universes, first contact leads to war. In others, to peace and cooperation. We always hope for the latter, but we prepare for the former. As if to emphasize his point, a shimmering portal opened in the engine room. Through it, they could see glimpses of other Earths, some futuristic utopias, others post-apocalyptic wastelands. This is the true face of humanity, Admiral, General Chen said. Not just one world, but infinite possibilities. We are explorers, scientists, warriors when we need to be. But above all, we are survivors. She fixed Zorak with a steely gaze. Now you face a choice. Help us bring peace to your empire, or watch as we dismantle it, world by world. What's it going to be? As Zorak looked from the portal to the incredible technology around him, he realized that the galaxy as he knew it had changed forever. The age of the Empire was over. The era of humanity had begun. The news of the Empire's defeat spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On countless worlds, beings of all shapes and sizes huddled around communication devices, their eyes wide with disbelief as they watched the footage of the mighty Imperial fleet hanging powerless in Earth's orbit. In the Imperial Palace on Centralia, Emperor Vexthor raged, his 6 arms flailing wildly. Impossible, he roared, his translucent brain pulsing an angry red. How could those primitive humans defeat our greatest fleet? But the evidence was undeniable. The holographic displays showed the Earth ships, sleek and powerful, effortlessly disabling the Imperial vessels. And now, those same ships were on the move. Admiral Zorak, once the pride of the Imperial fleet, stood on the bridge of his captured flagship. Beside him, General Chen and Dr. Quantum watched as a swirling portal opened in space. "Are you ready, Admiral?" General Chen asked, her voice firm but not unkind. Zorak's scales rippled with a mix of fear and anticipation. I am," he said. "For the good of the galaxy, the Empire must change, or fall." With a nod from Chen, the Earth fleet, along with the captured Imperial ships, entered the portal. In a flash of light, they'd vanished from Earth's solar system. They reappeared near Outpost Sigma 9, one of the Empire's key military installations. The Imperial defenders, caught completely off guard, could only watch in shock as the combined fleet dropped out of the portal. "Attention, Imperial forces," Zorak's voice boomed across all communication channels. "I am Admiral Zorak. I order you to stand down immediately. The war is over. Earth has defeated us." Confusion and chaos erupted among the Imperial ranks. Some ships attempted to flee, only to find their engines suddenly offline, disabled by the same technology that had neutralized the invasion fleet at Earth. On the nearest habitable planet, a crowd gathered outside the Imperial Governor's palace. Beings of all species, many of them subjugated races within the Empire, watched the skies with a mixture of fear and hope. Suddenly, the air shimmered, and General Chen appeared before them, her image projected as a giant hologram. "People of the Empire," she began, her voice echoing across the planet, "we come not as conquerors, but as liberators. The age of tyranny is over. The age of cooperation and mutual respect begins today." As she spoke, Earth ships descended from the skies, not with weapons blazing, but with holds full of advanced medical equipment, food synthesizers, and clean energy generators. The crowd watched in awe as human volunteers, accompanied by members of their own species, began distributing aid and technology far beyond anything the Empire had ever provided. Back on the flagship, Dr. Quantum turned to Zorak. "You see, Admiral, this is why we remained hidden for so long. Not out of fear, but because we knew that with great power comes great responsibility." Zorak nodded slowly, his earlier arrogance replaced by a newfound humility. I understand now. But surely not all humans are so benevolent. General Chen laughed. Oh, we have our fair share of conflicts and disagreements. But we learned long ago that the only way to survive and thrive in a multiverse of infinite possibilities is to work together. Our strength comes from our diversity, our adaptability, and our willingness to learn from each other, and from our mistakes. As the day wore on, more and more Imperial worlds received the news. Some welcomed the humans with open arms, eager for freedom from Imperial oppression. Others were more hesitant, centuries of Imperial propaganda making them wary of the newcomers. But everywhere, the pattern was the same. The humans arrived not with demands or threats, but with offers of aid, technology, and partnership. They spoke of a new galactic alliance, one based on mutual respect and cooperation rather than domination. On Zentralia, Emperor Vexthor watched helplessly as his empire crumbled around him. World after world declared independence or pledged allegiance to the new Earth-led alliance. His advisors fled, his armies surrendered, and for the first time in his long life, the Emperor felt truly afraid. As night fell on 100,000 worlds, the beings of the former empire looked to the stars with new eyes. For so long, those stars had represented the oppressive reach of imperial power. Now they twinkled with the promise of a new era. An era of exploration, of freedom, and of limitless possibilities. The tables had turned, and the galaxy would never be the same again. As news of Earth's victory spread, the once mighty Galactic Empire fell into chaos. On the imperial capital of Zentralia, panic gripped the streets. Alien beings of all shapes and sizes rushed about, some fleeing, others rioting, and many simply lost in confusion. In the imperial palace, Emperor Vexthor huddled with his remaining advisors. His translucent brain pulsed with stress, changing colors rapidly. We must strike back. General Kraz, a hulking insectoid, slammed his chitinous fist on the table. Gather all our remaining forces for one final assault. Ambassador Lyra, a graceful being of pure energy, flickered in disagreement. No, we must negotiate. These humans have shown mercy where we would have shown none. As the argument raged, a young aide burst into the room. Your Majesty, urgent news from the outer systems. All eyes turned to the holographic display. It showed imperial worlds, one after another, declaring independence. Some pledged allegiance to the new Earth-led alliance. Others simply raised their own flags, free at last from imperial control. Emperor Vexthor slumped in his throne. It's over, he whispered. 10,000 years of imperial rule ended in a day. Meanwhile, on the planet Nexus Prime, once a vital imperial stronghold, things were different. Human ships hovered in the sky, but they brought no destruction. Instead, they delivered food, medicine, and advanced technology. In the planet's capital, Admiral Zorak stood before a crowd of fearful citizens. Beside him was Sarah Chen, now serving as Earth's ambassador. People of Nexus Prime, Zorak began, his voice amplified for all to hear. I know you're scared. I was too, when I first understood Earth's true power. But I've seen their worlds, their ways. They offer us not subjugation, but partnership. A brave soul in the crowd shouted, why should we trust them? Or you, traitor? Chen stepped forward. You shouldn't, she said simply, not blindly. We don't want your obedience. We want your cooperation. Look around you. We could have conquered this world in minutes. Instead, we offer you this. She held up a small device. With a flick of her wrist, it projected a hologram of a bustling, futuristic city. This is New Boston on Earth. And this, she changed the image, is New Boston's twin city on the planet Proxima b. 2 worlds, working together, thriving together. The crowd murmured in awe. An elderly alien pushed forward. But what of our ways, our traditions? Will you erase our culture like the Empire did to so many? Chen smiled. On the contrary, Earth's strength comes from diversity. We have thousands of cultures, languages, and traditions. We don't want to change you. We want to learn from you and share what we know in return. As the day wore on, similar scenes played out across the galaxy. On some worlds, the transition was peaceful. On others, die-hard Imperial loyalists resisted, only to find their weapons and ships suddenly powerless against Earth's technology. Back on Centralia, the Imperial Palace was in lockdown. Half the Imperial Guard had deserted, and riots blazed in the streets outside. Emperor Vexthor paced his throne room, alone and afraid. Suddenly, the air shimmered, a portal opened, and through it stepped General Chen and Dr. Quantum. "How dare you invade my private chambers?" Vexthor raged, but his voice quavered. Chen raised a calming hand. "Emperor Vexthor, we're not here to harm you. We're here to offer you a choice." Dr. Quantum stepped forward. "Your empire is falling, but it doesn't have to end in violence. Join us. Help us build a better galaxy. Your knowledge, your experience, they could be invaluable in this transition." Vexthor's eyes darted between them and the window, where he could see Earth ships hovering peacefully among the Imperial vessels. "And if I refuse?" he asked. "Then you'll be given safe passage to any world of your choosing, to live out your days in peace," Chen replied. "The age of empires is over. The age of cooperation has begun. But we'd rather have you with us than against us." As Vexthor considered their words, his gaze fell on an ancient mural depicting the founding of the empire. For a moment, he saw not the glory of conquest, but the pain and suffering it had caused. With a heavy sigh, the Emperor of 1,000 worlds, ruler of trillions, did something he'd never done before. He bowed his head and said, "I'm listening." Outside, as word spread of the Emperor's surrender, the riots slowly calmed. The people of Centralia, and indeed the entire former empire, stood at the threshold of a new era. An era of uncertainty, yes, but also one of hope. The galaxy was changing, and for the first time in millennia, its future was unwritten. 5 years had passed since the day Earth revealed its true power to the galaxy. The old Imperial Palace on Centralia, once a symbol of oppression, now stood as the headquarters of the new Galactic Alliance. Its halls, once echoing with the commands of emperors, now buzzed with the voices of representatives from 1,000 worlds. In the grand meeting chamber, delegates from across the galaxy gathered for a historic session. Humans sat alongside former Imperial citizens and once subjugated species, all equal in this new order. At the center of it all stood Sarah Chen, now serving as the Alliance's first president. "Friends, colleagues, fellow citizens of the galaxy," Chen began, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast room. 5 years ago, we stood on the brink of war. Today, we stand united in peace. As she spoke, holographic displays showed scenes from across the galaxy. On the desert world of Arrakis, human engineers worked alongside native sand dwellers to install massive atmospheric converters, slowly transforming the harsh planet into a verdant paradise. In the reigns of a gas giant, a joint human-alien research team studied the formation of a new moon, their ships darting between chunks of cosmic debris. "We've made incredible progress," Chen continued. "Our combined knowledge has cured diseases that once ravaged entire star systems. We've terraformed dead worlds, bringing life to barren rocks. And we've pushed the boundaries of science further than ever before." In the audience, former Emperor Vexthor listened intently. His role now was that of an advisor, helping to smooth the transition from empire to alliance. Next to him sat Admiral Zorek, who had become a key figure in integrating former Imperial forces into the new peacekeeping Galactic Guard. Chen's voice took on a more serious tone. "But our work is far from over. There are still those who resist change, who cling to old hatreds and fears. Just last month, a group of Imperial loyalists attempted to seize control of the Omega Nebula outpost. The holographic display shifted, showing footage of the failed coup. But instead of scenes of battle, it showed Galactic Guard ships using Earth's phase shift technology to peacefully neutralize the rebels' weapons. We faced this threat not with violence, but with compassion and understanding, Chen explained. The rebels were arrested, yes, but they'll be given a chance to learn, to see the benefits of our new society. As she spoke, Dr. Quantum stepped forward. The scientist, his form still shifting between dimensions, activated a device on his wrist. Suddenly, the entire chamber seemed to expand, the walls fading away to reveal the vast expanse of the galaxy. And now, Quantum announced, we're ready to take our next great leap. Thanks to our combined efforts, we've perfected long-range portal technology. The entire galaxy is now within reach, not in years or months, but in moments. A gasp of awe rippled through the assembly. Even Vexthor, who had once commanded vast fleets, looked stunned at the implications. Chen smiled at the reaction. But we won't stop there. As we speak, our scientists are probing the boundaries between universes. Soon, we may be able to reach out to other realities, to infinite versions of ourselves. She paused, letting the magnitude of this sink in. This is the power of unity, of cooperation. 5 years ago, Earth could have conquered the galaxy. Instead, we chose to liberate it. And in doing so, we've all become stronger. As Chen's speech concluded, the chamber erupted in applause. Species that once would have been mortal enemies embraced, their differences forgotten in the face of a bright, shared future. Outside the Alliance headquarters, citizens from 100 worlds gathered in the streets, watching the proceedings on massive screens. Children of all species played together, their laughter a testament to the new era of peace. And high above, in orbit around Zentralia, the combined fleet of the Galactic Alliance stood ready, not for war, but for exploration. Their mission was no longer to conquer, but to discover, to learn, to grow. As night fell on the galaxy's new capital, countless beings looked up at the stars. But now, those distant points of light no longer represented unknown threats or imperial oppression. Instead, they twinkled with the promise of new adventures, new friendships, and a future limited only by their collective imagination. The galaxy had been reborn, and its story was just beginning.